So today we are talking about how to subtract without having to regroup. And so first I just wanted to go over what regrouping was to begin with. And so regrouping is when you cannot easily subtract your bottom number from your top number. And so we cannot subtract 7 from 1. We can't do that. And so we have to borrow from this 20. And so when we do that, it becomes a 1. And we take this set of 10 over here, and that becomes an 11. And so we have 11 minus 7, which is 4. And then we have 1 minus 1, which is 0. But as you can see, that can be kind of confusing. And so I'm going to talk about 3 different strategies that we can subtract without having to regroup. And so the first strategy is called changing/shifting. And so in this example, we have 43 minus 29, which is not exactly easy to subtract. It's not a very compatible pair. But if we add 1 to each number, we get this 30 and this 44. And 44 minus 30 is much easier to subtract than 43 minus 29. So the basic concept of changing/shifting is that you add or subtract to each of your numbers to make them a little bit easier to subtract. And so for this example, we had 43 minus 29, and that's really hard to easily subtract off the top of your head. But if you have 44 minus 30, you know that 4 minus 3 is 10, and so we'll put a 1 in the tens place. And then we know that 4 minus 0 is 4, and so we'll have a 4 in the ones place. And then that was so much easier to subtract than having to regroup. We have 14. And so if you want to pause this video right here and try one for yourself, I have an example problem, and so you can go ahead and do that right now. Or if you feel confident, you can go ahead and continue the video. So for our second strategy to subtract without having to regroup, it is called the hop, skip, and jump strategy. And so for this example, we have 84 minus 38, which again is not a very compatible pair to try to subtract. And so we want to basically put our lowest number down at the bottom of a number line, and we want to work our way up to the top number. And so as you can see here, I went from 38 to 40, and as I did that, I put the number of spaces I had to jump to get from 38 to 40. So here I had to go plus 2, and then I did a big jump from 40 to 80, and so from there I had to skip over 40, and then I went from 80 to 84, and there I had to skip over 4. And so I just wrote each that I had to skip over between each space, and then I added those together. So I brought the 40 and the 4 and the 2 down here, and I added all of those together to get 46. And so now we know that 84 minus 38 is 46. And so the basic concept of this strategy is that we're going from our lowest number in our problem to the highest number in our problem, and we're just finding out how many numbers are in between those, which is the same concept as subtracting. So if you would like to try one for yourself, you can pause this video right here, and I have an example problem for you. Or if you are feeling confident, we can move on to the third and final strategy. So the third strategy for subtracting without regrouping is called the nines complement strategy. And so in this example, we have 5,000 minus 3,792, which is a really difficult number to subtract from the top of your head or with regrouping. And so here I have 5,000 minus 3,792. Once again, very difficult. We cannot subtract 2 from 0, 9 from 0, 7 from 0. So we would have to borrow from this 5 several times. And so instead of doing that, we want to subtract 1 from each number. When we have these zeros over here, if we subtract 1, they all become 9s, which is why it's called the 9's complement. And so when they all become 9s, it's so much easier to subtract each of these numbers, because we know that 9 is going to be our biggest number that we can have here, and so we know that all of these are going to be the same size or smaller. And so here when we subtract, we have 9 minus 1, which we know is 8. We have 9 minus 9, which is 0. 9 minus 7, which is 2. And 4 minus 3, which is 1. And that was so much easier than trying to borrow from this 5 several times. And so the basic concept here is you want it to turn these zeros into 9s by subtracting 1. But to keep the problem the same, we want to subtract 1 from both numbers rather than just our top number with the zeros. And so once again, I have one for you to try if you feel that you need the practice, or if you're feeling confident, you can go out and teach these strategies to your own kiddos, and it'll be so much easier than trying to teach them how to regroup. So thank you for watching the video, and have a good day.